I've had the pleasure of knowing Charles for about 30 years, you think? 25, 30 years. We first met at Books and Books in the Gables, Miami's great bookstore. And we've had the pleasure of interacting and him reading my work and me going over to Charles's house to look at his paintings over the years. And I've been the librarian here for about close to 2 years now, almost 2 years exactly. And we have this beautiful gallery right here on this campus. So when I had the opportunity to approach the administration, Anna, Dr. Bilbao previously, Dr. Cruz, to mount the show here, everybody was very enthusiastic and very helpful and helped pull it together very quickly, for which I'm grateful. And Kronen, Bernstein also helped pull everything together. As you can see from the work, it's just really brilliant. Like abstract work in general, but you can't even call it abstract. It's both abstract and ultra realistic. It's the pixels of the air have been magnified.
Good. Pixels of the air.
And a lot of people, I never did this. A lot of people were going around looking through the camera because they wanted pictures, and then the picture is shrunk to its kind of dimensions, and you can see it really clearly, and it's quite beautiful and amazing. So, and anyway, instead of me babbling on, let me introduce you to Charles Bernstein.
I really appreciate the opportunity to show in this beautiful gallery. And it's great seeing all of you here tonight. I have to thank Dr. Anna Cruz, who has since taken another post, I'm told, for initially approving my exhibition here. I want to thank Kronen Bernstein for assisting with many of the details of the show. I certainly want to thank Steve for his enthusiasm and for asking the administration to have me show my work here. There was some wonderful graphic design work done by Maria Jose in the graphic design department here, and I feel a debt of gratitude to her for doing a wonderful job both on the poster and on the brochure. There is a representative from the Miami Dade Gallery System, Robert Perez, who decided what configuration the gallery should have for my show, because these partitions are movable, and he physically hung all of these works also, and got on a 6-foot ladder and still had to reach another 4 feet to adjust the lighting. So Robert is not here, but I certainly am grateful to him for his work. I'm probably leaving somebody out. I'm very happy that friends I know are here and that other people from the community are here. The title, Then and Now, was chosen by me for the reason that some of these works go back to 1992, and some of them were actually completed just days ago. They're dated 2011, 3 of them. So there's a 20-year span that's covered by this exhibition. Not so much every date, but a lot back in the early 90s, and then some closer to now. I have a series of 8 paintings here from 1992 and 1993 that were based on a rather realistic painting I did from Matheson Hammock Marina. And the original painting was a small painting, 20 by 24 inches. These are larger. And instead of copying the study that I did from life, I determined a set of circles or stars or other sets of curves to cover the entire surface of each canvas. And I was consistent to use only one pattern in each canvas. So this canvas I call Marina in a butterfly pattern because the little shapes end up reminding me of butterflies. There's a painting there that I say is the Marina in a lantern pattern. As we go into the gallery here, we have 3 paintings that are based on star configurations. And at that time, somebody had been to Spain, one of the teachers at Miami Senior Adult Education Center, and he, I believe, was showing me a cathedral in a city called Burgos. And in that cathedral, it was kind of a shock in a Christian cathedral to see a Star of David design at the top of the dome and other geometrics connecting to that star. So I started to also look at Islamic art, which was the source in Spain for those configurations. And some of these use an 8-pointed star, as this one does, as this one does. And this one is the one that uses the 6-pointed star throughout. This painting here I call An Artist and His Public. And here's the artist sketching. This person is seated next to him and has sort of just a mild interest in what the artist is sketching. Here we have an older man, white-haired, mustachioed, and he's looking off into space. And we have a fourth man here. This fellow is looking far into the distance and is totally uninterested in anything else that's going on. The idea for this actually started even further back than 1994, the year I painted it. I actually sketched my cousin while he was sketching in Peacock Park. A little pencil sketch, a few swirly lines, back in 1975. Taking that pencil sketch home, I rolled out a sheet of brown wrapping paper and I got some white oil paint and some burnt umber oil paint and started working white into umber, umber into white, and I produced a oil study of the figure group that was based on the pencil drawing. Well, that was also 1975. That image stayed framed on my wall for almost 20 years before I decided, well, let's see what this would be like if I used the circle pattern. And here we have the result. This was 1994. In 1996, I've gone from more muted colors to brighter colors. This is a scene of a sidewalk. There are parked cars at parking meters. Over to the left, there is a gate. And on the gate and through the wrought iron of the gate, we see large orange hibiscus blossoms pouring through. Looking further, there's some other architecture and palm trees further in the distance. The colors here are much brighter than the one of the artist and his public, and the emphasis on the circle pattern is a little more intense because we look at the sidewalk and we see the divisions of the sidewalk, but meanwhile these circle patterns are so strong and so insistent that they almost prevent us from seeing that as a flat plane receding, but not quite. We can still imagine it as a sidewalk. There are 4 intermediate-sized paintings that also use the circle patterns. These are based on photos that I took at Redbird Shopping Center near my house. There are 2 of them here. And if we go to the other side of this gallery, we see 2 of them here. This group of 5 paintings was based on a photo session that I had at the Best of Times dance studio, where I am a happy participant. Wendy Fong and a friend of hers named Wei posed for me as they went through traditional Chinese dance movements. I had a collection of maybe 60 photos that I took of them. Most of them were blurred, and they were not easy to work from, and I didn't try to work from them for a long time. I think I may have done this one first, then this one, and this one, but I'm not sure. I know that the more abstract depiction that's been used in the poster was the last of the 5. My most recent paintings are these 3 here, and I think knowing that I was going to have a show here caused me to work at a very, very intense pace, because these 3 paintings were begun after Christmas. They're based on photos that I took at Fairchild Gardens. They are several different varieties of Kronen. And I'm very enthusiastic about these paintings because instead of imposing a pattern on nature, I'm trying to find and see pattern in nature. I also envision this series continuing and leading to larger paintings in which I cover more canvas area with continuing patterns taken from foliage. We think of images that are broken into pixels as computer art. In fact, this is a recent reworking of the image, and this does not exist anywhere except as a photo on paper and in my computer as a file, because this was actually drawn on the computer. So there are programs that one can draw and paint directly with the computer mouse or a stylus on an electronic pad. And that's how this image was created. Also a further updating of this. At some point later, I may do another version based on this on a larger scale, but I have not yet done that.
I'm very privileged to be a friend of not only Charles, but the people that, somebody was here promoting Miami Dade College and everyone that has to do with the college. Well, I could also do that because there are some great people at all the campuses.
Charles's work's quite dynamic, and I think the work is not only physically brilliant, a lot of it bright, but brilliant in its conception and execution, conceiving of taking different shapes and then seeing them as pixels and seeing them as dividing up the reality into its various constituencies, as it were. They're dynamic. They're strong, and his execution, even his realistic paintings are strong and dynamic, and his technique is very accomplished.
My work process has really differed at different stages in this exhibition, because the majority of works here were done when I was still a teacher for Dade County Public Schools. And so I would be spending a regular teaching week teaching and find hours to paint when I was not teaching. In recent years, I no longer have to teach, and so I can actually just get up in the morning, have breakfast, paint for a while, have lunch, paint for a while, until dinner time, and then usually I won't paint in the evening. The idea of the technique can be a motivator. Some idea about realism and abstraction and how to merge the two, which is something that I've been preoccupied with for many, many, many years. Some new way of thinking of that can motivate me. Technology can motivate me because I've also done some work that exists only on the computer because they were done electronically and they were not done directly with paint and canvas. So I could be spending sometimes a good day working, sitting in a chair at a computer screen, and actually that may be more tiring and more fatiguing to the muscles than standing at an easel. The image here was done in 1994, but it originated from a 1975 sketch that I did of him in the park. David became fascinated with this really thorough study of human anatomy, and reading a book by Robert Beverly Hale called Drawing Secrets from the Masters, or something like that. Robert Beverly Hale was a curator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, but he was also a drawing teacher at the Art Students League in New York, which is a school that you don't have to seek a degree, and many, many important artists receive part of their training at the Art Students League in New York. Well, Robert Beverly Hale wrote this book, Drawing Secrets from the Masters, in which he said that the old masters that we see in the museum, such as Rembrandt, all owned a set of bones. They all had an actual skeleton and drew those bones continuously and learned all the insertion points of all the muscles, and that accounted for their mastery. So David went to the extent of buying a skeleton from an artist anatomy warehouse, not a plastic one, an actual skeleton. At one point I had it in my house. I drew from it a while, and then getting bored, I decided that I wanted it out of the way. So I found a plastic garment bag, and the garment bag was like a box that hung from a hanger, and I affixed the hook at the top of the skeleton's head to the hook inside the garment bag where you might hang a suit, and I bent the arms and legs and knees so that it fit in the garment bag, zipped it all up, and I actually had a skeleton in my closet for some months until David got it from me again.